The amazingly talented artist, Karl Mattson. How are you doing today, man?
Oh, not too bad. Yeah,
Right on.
nice wintry day out there, getting warmer.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a shame that we had to block all the windows,
Yeah.
because there's some serious heat coming in. But now it's
Finally, yeah.
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 You might have to put a scarf on halfway through this.
Yeah.
On the final hour of the podcast,
Oh,
you got back to me and I went,
Yeah.
yes! Oh, I've been trying to get a hold of you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been busy times and emails and things, you know.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that you're busy, like, because that's never a bad thing. You're working on a sculpture right now, right? Or did you finish that?
Yeah, I'm revitalizing the sculpture in the Dawson Creek traffic circle
Okay.
that I built it's 20 years ago this year, or 20 last year now. So, and I didn't have a lot of experience back then and rudimentary tools, and so over the years it's kind of been driving me nuts. Like, I really wanted to finish it, so I pitched the idea to the city and they agreed, and so I have it in my shop right now, tore apart and building it the way I want to see it.
Nice.
It's like looking at over the years, it's been like looking at a high school art project that, you didn't want to have in the traffic circle.
Right. Okay.
So it's going to be fun, making it the way I want it to be.
That's awesome. Yeah. I actually remember. I remember the first time I saw that. Actually, I was a bit of a. I think I was in like high school. I was just gonna say I was in high school when that would have happened. And I was like blown away by that. I really I loved the design. I'd never really been too taken by visual arts, so to speak. Yeah. But I just thought it was like so cool. It was very like kind of steampunky, like it was oxidized in like a really nice way, like already. And I can't imagine how you're gonna improve it, but it's
kind of wild looking into it, because I'm cutting pieces of it apart. Lots of it I'm leaving it as is, but just to see how savage I was working back then with no money and just like it's scrap. Like the interior of it is actually just pieces, like over-welded, over-engineered pieces of scrap metal.
Okay.
Like it'll last 1,000 years, but it's funny because it's just like a piece from the dump or like this or that, and then
and so
which is kind of cool to see for me, because now I keep things. I plan things more.
Okay.
But it's fun to learn that I was working more organic.
It's kind of
which
like
I
a time
kind of
capsule,
think
right?
is like I don't know if I could work that way again, which is kind of sad and kind of not sad. I don't know.
Yeah, well, everyone has an evolution. I mean, you should have seen the what I was trying to do, or what I was trying to work with when I was recording my high school band for trying to get a couple of songs out onto the internet. We had like it was a good microphone. I'm just gonna put it that way. But it was like a Snowball USB microphone, and I had like these like giant like weird ultra bass boosted headphones that I had like duct taped to my head so that I wasn't like bleeding the sound out into the microphone. It was primitive.
Yeah, but cool to make it work that way too.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't do it another way, but definitely I know some things now.
Yeah, evolution, I guess, of your craft and how you do it.
It's progress, because we're always like learning how to do things better as people in general, but artists.
Yeah, I'm mostly self-taught, so I've learned things really the hard way, I think, which is I kind of regret not getting trained and going to art school and stuff.
Okay.
But it just wasn't there for me. But it also, like, my work is my work. Like, it's just kind of learned how to do it myself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it might be unique that way. I don't know. But
I would think it's unique in that way. I'm sort of a fan of the School of Hard Knocks myself.
Yeah.
I have had some help over the years. I definitely didn't know how to operate a camera until I joined the Macwood crew. So I've definitely had some like, you know, pushes in the right direction. But a lot of like the musical stuff.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say that I was steered in any direction. I just kind of like, you know, like listen to what other people were doing and try to like emulate that, and I've sort of made my own thing.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
Yeah.
And it's just it's my process.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you mean. I also like I'm not totally self-taught. I was raised with artists, so that I had the luxury of growing up not thinking it's weird to constantly make things or use your imagination. So that was like a big assistance, and yeah, just being around in our community and not having any I don't know, inhibitions about it, about being that type of character.
Right.
I think that really helps.
Can we talk about like your early years of developing your art?
Yeah.
Like who first got you into doing art?
Well, I was raised on a cattle ranch, and my mom was an artist, and she still is. She's a pretty amazing sculptor and painter. My brother's an artist, and my uncle. My dad, unfortunately, had to deal with us because weirdos, but he could only mainly draw a stick man, but he was supportive. But we've always just been artists and making things, so I didn't really take it seriously till after high school. Kind of started making more sculpture work. I was doing more mixed media, and then did that for a while. Was involved in some exhibits, and then I got into video quite a few years. I was doing a lot of northern, like Arctic adventures. I was doing a lot of canoeing and stuff. And
oh wow!
so I ended up doing some filming. That's when I got my first camera, and like K1000 film camera, and like a cheap Sony video camera. And I canoed from my farm to the Arctic Ocean, which is like 93 days with my ex and my dog. And I filmed it, and then I got into like this film festival, adventure film festival thing that I kind of actually did really well in. And that was just learning how to take images. And so that was my kind of jumping around here, but that was like my video days. Yeah, I bought a computer and had to learn that and all. It's that type of thing, editing. Then I went to India with a doctor friend of mine, and we made a film there. Then now I'm getting into my early 30s, I guess, and for me that was just too much work. Like the editing process, like it would take a year to make a project, and that for me that was really daunting when I knew I could do other things that I could, so I got more into sculpture again, which I'd already done previously, large scale sculpture. So now I'm kind of focusing on larger stuff with steel and iron and recycled objects, which is kind of what I started out with as a kid, collecting things and making things.
Sort of almost going back to your roots, really.
Yeah, so I've kind of like went through a few different disciplines, trying to figure them out, and now I'm kind of back into mixed media. I do a lot of ink, pen and ink, and on photograph. I still do photography, but I kind of like to do everything, and that can be a bit of a problem. So right now I'm focusing on a few big sculptures, but I'm also planning a show here at KPAC.
Oh yeah,
and I have some pieces coming as a preview to the show on Friday, I think, at the gallery here. Some pen and ink stuff, some big stuff. Cool. So yeah, I'm kind of doing a bit of everything still. It's life on the farm and just always wanting to create. It's like is like a compulsion. I don't think I'd be very healthy if I didn't make things constantly.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
There's something about being creative and like working with your hands. Like straight out of high school, I started working in carpentry. So I was doing like the blue collar stuff, and
yeah,
I absolutely love that. Like, there's something really special about maybe not like after, like in between a day or two, but like, a couple of months later, you finally have like the roof in, and when you were like struggling to get the concrete all flat and level and stuff.
yeah,
There's something like really deeply uh satisfying about being able to see your work come to fruition, like straight in front of your eyes, that you can like reach out and touch.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking about that the other day. I was working on this cabin, and you ever like carpentry wasn't really my thing because I like the fact that you can build things, but like, do you appreciate the steps? Or I often find like, so you start with nothing and then it's done, and you can't really picture the renovation part. I don't know. It's weird. It's hard to explain. I was talking about it with my brother. How this is. I don't know if that's normal or not. Like, now it's done, and I can't almost remember the middle part.
Yeah,
sculpture's different for me because it's more like you're just constantly bending, and it's like not planned, but you're organic.
I never noticed that. I never noticed that. There's kind of some holes in my memories where I think I probably was just really too focused on like getting the problem solved more than like focusing on like the process.
Yeah.
Maybe, but who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. But anyway, I went through the blue collar thing too. I worked at the regional district for 16 years and our paycheck, but also got lots of skills.
And,
just learning things. And
I shouldn't call it blue collar, because like it deserves a lot more respect than that. Like, it's a skilled trade. That's what I should have called it.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. Yeah, but it's also kind of cool. Blue collar stuff is cool. Bruce Springsteen, man.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't mind if someone pointed at me and went, "Oh, blue collar worker," but that's just me. I'm kind of unbothered by that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, it's very important stuff to know.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it kind of keeps this country kind of on its feet.
Yeah.
Like we run out of skilled trades, blue collar workers. Like, everything goes belly under like in a month. Yeah. Our electrical grids are going to go out. Our roofs are going to start leaking.
Roads,
it's going to be bad.
Water, sewer. Yeah.
Oh, God forbid the roads.
Yeah, I worked in the garbage for quite a while, and it's unbelievably huge. It's like mind-boggling.
Yeah.
It's part of our society.
Unbelievably important.
Yeah. The things we don't really tend to think about.
Right. So I saw that a small video company in town did a Macwood did some sort of a video for you about a sculpture that you were doing. Could you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, I was building 2 sculptures.
Right. Yeah. 2
at the same time, kind of, for 2 different exhibits. They're similar in a way, but 2 different, very, very different sculptures. One was very personal. They're both very personal pieces, but they're built out of scrap iron, with a kind of an environmental bent. A lot of my work for a long time had to do with had elements of communication and breathing, and that goes back to like, probably 15 years ago, when I was like doing like my existential crisis period, which I think there's always a dull drone of that, probably right to the grave. But
yeah, probably.
I was more concerned about specific things, about industry and development around my farm.
Okay.
So I started building these life pods. They evolved into a thing called Lost, which is a like 12-foot tall woman with breathing tanks, and her head is made out of a like an outdoor wood stove thing, so you can actually light her on fire. And so that's been pretty popular. I've sold a couple. There's one permanently in Calgary and one down in Penticton. There's another version of her in Castlegar right now, and then there's another version in Penticton proper in this traffic circle. So I've been touring these things and building them for quite a while, and they're big and kind of overwhelming. They're kind of dark, but people don't see them that way, and that's kind of what I was going for too. People like them, but they're kind of like a post-apocalyptic giant
little
figure.
Mad Max.
It's kind of like
style.
It's just like a beautiful character, but with a bleak wandering through the bleakness. Our humankind's what did I say? Often bleak march into uncertainty, which I think in a lot of ways that's what we're doing.
Great.
So then I was also building life pods, like above ground bunkers, breathing chambers with. There's kind of like a dark comedy as well, but they're actually functioning. Like in the event of a sour gas leak or something around my farm, or because I've had lots of discussions with oil and gas representatives, like what actually happens if there is a disaster.
Right.
And it's pretty vague, and how they actually evacuate you, or if they can. So I had a lot of difficulty with that, and it's because it really is unrealistic. So that was my response, was to build art as a response, which I've showed twice now in Vancouver. I showed it in Winnipeg. I'm working on a show right now with it's a group called CAPE, Canadian Associations of Physicians for the Environment.
Okay.
I had a show with them at UBC, and now we're turning it into an online show about my work and how it ties in with
really
environmental
issues. Hey, that's awesome.
So that's also exciting. I had a few things on the go.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow, you got many irons in the fire, hey?
Yeah, but that's good.
Yeah, that's great.
I also run a small farm, so I sell hay and
that's a full-time job.
Yeah, I have horses and things like that, so it's a busy life, but it's good.
Right, yeah, very full, kind of fulfilling sort of a life.
Yeah,
you're doing what you love, and I assume the farm is also what you love. And
I've moved a quarter mile in my whole life down the creek. Same. I live in a 100-year-old house that my great grandparents lived in. And
right. Yeah, I think with the exception of me moonlighting, like in the big city, I really only moved like 200 meters at most.
Yeah.
Because my parents, or my mom's parents, bought a very large bit of land many years ago for like next to nothing. It had to homestead it and then like split it.
Yeah.
And I was living I grew up in this house that it was sort of like just a trailer that they had moved in to try to like just keep some somewhere to live.
Yeah.
Basically. And then when my grandfather passed away, we moved into that building instead.
Yeah.
And it was like you could see the two buildings from the window. So it was and
I totally hear you.
And just being out in the country is phenomenal. I love the big city to visit.
Yeah.
There's something about the pace of it. Everything's a little more calm.
Yeah.
You can actually have like a shred of privacy out nowhere. You can just kind of like be loud. Drums are incredibly loud, and I have been known to play them once in a while. And if I was in an apartment or something, I probably wouldn't have been in that apartment the next day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, cool. Yeah, we had we run a music festival on our farm for over a decade. That was also fun. Same thing, we could just crank it. We had like 10,000 watts just to play with, and no complaints.
Yeah, who's gonna complain?
Not
right?
too much for permits, just
right.
It's a lot of freedom. up here and in especially rurally.
Yeah, for sure. Well, especially here, everyone seems very reasonable.
Yeah.
You know, if as long as you're keeping it down in the hours, you know, after 11, you know, being respectful, you know, for most of the time, no one seems to really bother you too much.
Yeah, I find a lot of people complain about a lack of freedom up here, but I think I live pretty free.
Maybe it's just because we're rural, because we live rurally, so we get to like rule. Sorry, I'm trying to get upon rural area.
Rural. Yeah, which is something you could do, but see, then you start losing freedoms. If you start to rule the rural. Try saying that 10 times.
I tried it once and I regret it.
That's all I can think about now. Rule.
Rule the rule.
Great title for something.
Yeah, that should be the next movie. the next piece of art.
Yeah.
Maybe. Whoever gets to it first.
Yeah. Definitely has some pitchforks involved.
Maybe a propane burner.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe a big vat of oil off the barn loft.
Yeah, kind of a logo.
I don't know.
Sort of like an art piece that you can only do like once.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to cook people, but
just put a little like metal trough in the to catch it and call it a day.
Yeah.
It'd be like one of those like water fountains that it has like a pump that pushes it back up. So
yeah.
Maybe I don't know.
Except
I'm not
with
an
like
engineer.
Oil and fire. Maybe that could be another talent, is learning to light on fire. Like that would help out a lot of local film companies. They run around on fire.
Yeah. I mean, we would love that. Your insurance company probably wouldn't enjoy that too much, but that would be
endless possibilities.
Yeah, I have always wanted to be saturated in whatever jelly that is, and like run around, because
apparently you have to keep moving.
Yeah, you got to keep the fire out of your face.
Right.
It seems like dangerous, but it seems exciting and fun at the same time.
Yeah.
And
definitely something to say you've done.
Yeah, exactly. I got set on fire and lived it.
Yeah.
Or that's the burning person.
Yeah.
I would assume Burning Man is taken already, that title. So the burning person.
Burning person, yeah. Out on the farm.
Singed person, yeah. Ruling the rule.
Yeah, we could easily try that.
Hey, nothing's illegal if you don't get caught. Can I get you to kind of go into what your like process is? Do you even have like a normal process when you're making a sculpture?
Yeah, I do. I have lots of sketchbooks and pieces of paper. Sometimes I can't read it, but then when I get my idea that I have wanted to do for a long time, I have a zillion ideas that wrote down and lost, and sometimes I rework old work as well, but I don't throw things away, because sometimes that's like, you regret it. But anyway, back to what I do is I end up developing a sketch, and I pretty much work to that.
Okay.
Like sometimes sometimes things just happen, and I kind of always, but over the years, I'm getting older, and it's like, hey, that looks just like my sketch. So I do work really close to what my original thought was, and not totally intentionally, but it always kind of ends up being just like my drawing. And I've learned that over the years that that is what I wanted to see, and I can make it happen. So maybe I don't draw things too elaborately so that I can't do it. I'm not sure, but it always works out. Or maybe I learn to catch up to my thoughts. Yeah,
maybe you just are actually very skilled.
Yeah, I think it just comes with time sometimes too, or just practice. And now that I work with art full time, I'm getting a lot more practice.
Right.
I wish I could have done that, for the last 20 years, but I had to do a whole bunch of jobs to be an artist.
Yeah, well,
And,
being an artist is incredibly expensive.
Yeah, I think almost all artists have to be a bit of a hustler to keep things afloat.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. 'Cause not only do you have to be a creative person that is, skilled in doing whatever they're doing, but now you have to sell that to somebody else. You have to now become a, like a marketing guru as well.
Yeah, or you got to switch gears and go drive a truck, or you got to which is
frame
also
houses
which is also like not easy. You don't want to switch your brain back and forth all the time, but
and it takes time as well.
Yeah, so you end up scrambling to make things in your free time, which is not always easy.
No, but somehow you managed to transition to having this as your career. I don't want to call it a job. It's it's the best a career.
Yeah, it seems to be moving along now. I just landed a contract to build a big sculpture in terrace in front of the brand new hospital. So I was just down there salvaging parts out of the old hospital like a month ago. So
you're going to reuse parts of the old hospital in this new structure, sort of as like a memento or something.
Kind of, yeah. So I'm just repurposing the old hospital into a new sculpture in front of the new hospital as memorial.
Really cool.
Which is pretty fun because I got to dig through an ancient old hospital, which is, I basically got to go shopping for things to build a sculpture, which is pretty fun.
Yeah. And, hopefully you're wearing your some sort of mask.
Yeah, for sure.
And your N90 or 95, whatever those are.
But the old, like 1960s, stainless steel apparatuses and equipment are so unique. Like everything was built just differently, almost like solid, and like the bearings are better. So I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this. Yeah,
the engineering is really the college has like a military grade giant like mixing bowl thing that's like as tall as a human being.
Yeah.
And just like, you can pretty much lay across the bowl. And it's like this massive thing from
for what do they do with
the
it?
60s or something. They use it in the kitchen.
Oh, for the chef school?
Yeah, the students use it to make like the giant batches of bread that they end up serving with the meals. Yeah. And it's been around since the 60s, and it's like still got that like nice like that color, like that green color.
Yeah.
And it's might be a little plutonium in there actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But it still works great.
Yeah. I just harvested like a pull around light fixture from the maternity ward dated 1958 to repurpose for my new sculpture. And it's just a beautiful thing. Like it still swings around. They're still using it, I think. Like it was still there.
Yeah,
I had an electrician unhook it, and it's just kind of a work of art itself. That's another fun thing about building out of scrap. You get to have all these cool angles and engineered pieces that I could never create in there. But to put them in and repurpose them into something else is pretty fun. Yeah. I mean, like even the skill it takes, like joinery, like cabinetry and joinery. I love looking at it, but I do not have the skills nor the patience to do any of that kind of a thing. And some of I totally agree. Yeah.
I saw a wooden mallet that it's just two pieces and no screws, no glue or anything. And somehow the way that you engineer it, I think like Abraham Lincoln or like a US president had to make this or something. It's like based off of his design. So it's a self adhering two pieces of wood that by the time you force the end of the handle into the hammer, it never lets go.
Oh yeah, it wants to bind forever.
Yeah, and it's like I saw like a theoretical breakdown of like how it works.
Yeah. And
even then I went, wow, this is amazing, but it's so over my head. Like I would never imagine like, because things are like bending as you're putting it in and it doesn't snap.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I do a lot of reading about the old like traveling in like the 1500s, 1600s, like the carpentry back then to go through those seas and all that stuff. Even my house was I live in, my house is over 100 years old now. Still standing good. Old logs from here,
Right.
dovetailed, but still like tight. Just a simple join and
Right.
and no nails.
But well done.
Yeah.
Is the key, that it's just the dovetails are way too simple to be as nearly as good as they are.
As strong as they are, yeah. I like your plant. It's very nice.
Thank you. It was Charlie's idea to put it in here in the first place.
Good job.
Have zero
It's
aesthetic
very, very healthy looking.
Yeah, it's looked this great for decades now.
Yeah.
Which is
How much do you have to water it?
more than you think. More than you would think.
Yeah. It's actually hydroponics, just running time.
What does art mean to you as an artist?
What does art mean? Art is something I'm compelled to do. I know it's important. It's in every part of our lives, right? Like everything you look at is some form of art.
True.
Looking into things we don't understand, for me, is a lot of my art is a way to deal with, you know, I don't know, it's kind of like cheesy, but you know, thoughts of the unknown, the you know, the other dimensions, whatever you want to, however you want to look at it. Like to I think it's very therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes even making art, you wonder why the hell you're doing it, but you just have to kind of get rid of that. It goes away, and then you're like, okay, I make fucking art, or no, I make art, and like, like, what does it mean? I don't know. It's kind of an elusive thing, but it's very important to human beings, and it always has been. Like,
Yeah.
Like you go back as far as you can go, and there's some with
Before
you know,
civilization,
there
was
Homo
art.
sapiens, like beyond, like there was always some form of art, and
it just keeps getting better with
I think we need it. I think it's often undervalued.
Yeah, definitely. I certainly undervalued art for a good couple of years. I just kind of always like put off like trying to do something creative. Like, I'll just do it. I'll do it next week, and then like 3 years pass.
I think everybody should be encouraged to be creative. It'd be wild to see how many amazing artists there'd be if if everybody felt free about it.
Yeah,
there's some very talented people around that could make some amazing things.
There's a lot of like people doing stuff in video games now that are like Minecraft, for example.
For sure, that's a huge industry of tons of artists.
Yeah, or people paint like the Warhammer 40K things, and like I kind of didn't I didn't know what to. I didn't think it was as serious, but they're getting like the perfect like gunmetal gray, and then they're like layering paints underneath it, and they're making sure that the one layer is a little thinner so the colors bleed through and stuff. Like really technically difficult stuff to do on just tiny little things.
Yeah, you just remind me of like diorama art, which I'm about to do a piece because I was recently on a residency in the Arctic of Norway.
Oh yeah,
Svalbard. We circumnavigated Svalbard actually, which is like one of the highest places you can go with like the inhabited. So it was actually 300 kilometers from the North Pole at one time back in August on a ship going through these big ice fields. So one of my future projects in the next month here is because I came home and on the farm, I've always collected like bones and things and worked with them. But so I've been collecting cow molars because they look just like the ice field scenes. Oh. So I'm going to create a diorama for like you could do a stop animation thing or something with it.
Okay.
But using organic materials to recreate a scene, I think would be pretty fun. So that's something else I'm going to do in the next little bit. that's a real side note here, but anyway.
Well, this is about you, man.
Yeah.
This is
but yeah, I've never worked in like that type of thing though. You're just talking about painting like
okay, yeah,
Warhammer and things like that.
Little figurines,
like small scale. I've never done that, so I'm gonna try that here shortly as well. I have a bunch of deadlines. I actually love deadlines. As long as they're not so overwhelming that you can't do them. But
yeah, you don't want to do.
You don't want to pass it, but
yeah, you don't want to have like like 3 weeks to do sound design for a movie or something. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah. You guys don't know anything.
As long as it's reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you actually do a lot of traveling. Like you could almost say that one might say that you're kind of worldly.
Yeah, not as much as I would like to have, but I did spend a lot of time in the Arctic, which is a real special place for me. A lot of paddling when I was young. I spent my 20s paddling into Northwest Territories, Nunavut, into the Yukon, right up to the Arctic Ocean many times.
Right.
And then I've been twice to the Arctic in Norway. Once on a old-fashioned sailboat, which is a bit.
Now that's real adventure. Right? That sounds great.
Was adventurous. The last time I was on an expedition icebreaker, and then other than that, I made a film in India, in the slums and in rural farming communities. That was real heavy. That was a life-altering perspective. I think a lot about perspective.
Right.
I think it's really important for everybody.
Yeah, certainly.
Brings you back to what's actually important and what you want to do.
Yeah. I mean, just like I could probably complain about any sort of thing, but
yeah, we all do.
It's
just human nature, but every once in a while you just gotta check yourself and
kind of realize where you
like
have.
I do anyway. It's like, hey, that's it's pretty good.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Everyone should take a moment to kind of like look at their surroundings and like appreciate what they have.
Yeah.
Like this guy right here. He has been dragging me through this process the entire time because I don't know what I'm doing, and he's always been giving me kind words of encouragement. If I didn't have him, I wouldn't be able to do this.
Yeah.
Mean words
Cool.
behind his back.
No, also mean words to my face. Is usually acceptable.
You mean this process right here?
Yeah, this process, because I don't like being.
I think this is great. You're a comfortable guy to talk to. That's good.
Thank you. I'm doing my best, which is all we can do.
That's awesome. I can I'm a pretty weird guy. I can't be
Ditto.
It's not always easy to speak. So
Good.
I've often said I speak through my art because
Right.
I'm not a good public speaker, or if I have like an agenda or like I want to make a point,
Right.
I could get like destroyed in a question and answer because I could panic. But through art, I have my statement.
Right. And it's sort of your working.
I got my word statement, but I also have a working physical statement that I've thought about enough that you can't say, "Hey, you're wrong." So speaking through art is powerful. Yeah.
Truly. I don't like being. I've always liked being kind of like behind the scenes, which is kind of weird because I was also like a performing musician.
Yeah.
But I was singing, and I was never really a good singer, and I still probably never going to be a good singer. But I was singing, but I was also playing drums, where I was like playing another instrument. So I always had something to hide behind.
Yeah.
Which made it doable, because like there's always like right before you perform, there's always that like that peak of anxiety, like 30 seconds before you step on stage. And if you can get past like that moment of panic, it's usually going to be okay.
Yeah.
But I got to hide behind my cymbals, or got behind my giant bass. Like it was good.
Yeah, I get it. I used to play in a band too in high school and then beyond.
What kind of instruments?
I used to play lead guitar, harmonica.
Sweet.
Yeah, me and my brother had a spoken word type band called Sorrow's Band.
Okay.
In high school, I had a band with some guys. We traveled around a bit and played, but I had the same thing. I had my guitar to look at.
I
also had long hair, which most of it fell out, but I could also hide behind that. It was classic, like 90s stuff.
Well, I'm wearing a toque for a reason, my friend. I'm wearing a toque for a reason. It's not just because it's cold. Yeah. Harmonica, I never got to figure out. Like, I was given one for like Christmas or something, and like I even had like a cheat sheet in front of me. I could never I'd pass out like halfway through the through the sheet music. Yeah. So maybe I
learned driving tractor. I was plowing a field for my dad, and it was this tiny little 3-bottom plow and an old ancient tractor, and I just belted that thing for days and days until you finally got the feel for it.
Oh.
And then I just went from there and started jamming with a few people. Real simple blues.
Right.
And you can't go wrong if you got the right key and you're in tune.
Yeah, it's blues.
Kind of mess around.
it's blues. It's kind of better if you're not exactly into it.
Yeah, you can like go off on purpose. You say so,
Yeah.
That was on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. You just kind of reach over, turn your G down a little bit.
Yeah. That's the problem with harmonica. You can't just.
Oh yeah.
You're stuck.
Well, you got to run it over with the tractor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Music is this is the only art that I know even kind of how to do. It's the only way I really know how to express myself.
Yeah, music is great.
So that's just being able to have that outlet has always been really important to me, and having the community, because I wouldn't have played in a band if I didn't have a community that was not only willing to play music with me, but also people were coming to the shows. They would I remember feeling real bad that we were doing $20 a head or something, but the place that the hall that we rented out to play it, we weren't barely even breaking even, just with everyone that wanted to just come hang out and listen to good music. So that community has been fantastic.
Yeah, our community, finding a community is important.
Yeah, I didn't seek out this community. It was just here, and I'm really thankful that everyone's been here. And it's weird because all the people in this community, the artists, are just unbelievably talented. We have amazing actors. We have Grady McTavish writing and directing films that I'm looking at the script going how? What? Is this upside down? How do you figure this is gonna work out? And then we shoot it. It's brilliant. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's a real avant-garde piece of art.
I get to watch the new communities. There's happening before I realize it. I went to the show a while ago. It was cool. I didn't know that the community was, until I met you guys, it was really happening. And so it's fun. It's meet new people. And
well, we've been real quiet. Everyone, I think the art community has just been kind of quiet, kind of patiently waiting for the opportunity to kind of come to light.
Yeah, well, hopefully there's more opportunities and for people to get out. That's a thing. Living in the north, that's one thing, and then rurally, not in a big center, these are huge curveballs if you want to be seen and have
we're a little more isolated, but maybe from the smaller community, people are going to be more passionate. They're going to
I think you
understand
can find some unique
things, personability.
Yeah. I always had this thought that maybe maybe this is already happening, or maybe it's always has happened, but there'd be a time in art history where they won't be so cliquey. It'll actually be like searching for gems, like real people that are out there, like doing amazing things, and those are fun stories. I know they're happening, but like being more of a thing, you know?
Yeah. It's happening, but maybe we're just not aware of it right now. And and that's where social media and stuff is letting a lot of rural people and isolated people make things and get them out there, that's the cool thing about it. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of scary things about it, but that part is really cool.
Yeah, maybe if I was going to think about it positively and not, in my natural state, seeing all the bad that could happen from it.
Yeah.
Maybe the good outweighs the poor, because there's always going to be kind of, bad elements.
Perspective.
In anything. Yeah. This isn't about art. This is about perspective.
Yeah. That's a word you could start saying, like, either nicely or meanly. You could just say if someone's bothering you, it's like perspective.
Next time I hear someone
giving someone a compliment, perspective.
Yeah.
Or perspective.
Oh, this script.
You could call someone perspective.
There's so much work to do the script. Perspective.
Yeah, see? All different ways.
Yeah. Okay, so is there any advice that you give to your younger self? Try to guide yourself along a path.
Guide to my younger self would be stay motivated. I don't know. I would say it's hard to give myself advice because I do, and then I'm like, but I'm always going to be this way. Like I wish I could have got really good at one thing before I did 20 other things, but I'm just not that guy. So that's just time. But that would be one thing, is like finish your thought. But I don't know if that's a good thing to say or not. I didn't really think about this one. Just make shit. Make things. And there was a time when I thought things had to be polished, which is kind of like just saying the opposite of what I just said. But as long as you're doing something creatively and not maybe overthinking that you're not doing it properly, or that's a tough question.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
those are the two issues I think I had. But if I didn't bounce around from idea to idea, I wouldn't be where I'm at either. So
yeah, I'm
not totally sure. I wish I would have like delved right into it and went for it, and never went and worked for a decade and a half doing something else. But I also needed the cash. Yeah,
that's true. You gotta.
So I'm just contradicting myself. That's.
Quit
contradicting yourself. There's my message. My former self of 2 minutes ago.
I do like that kind of stay motivated and like make stuff. That sounds great.
Just make things.
Yeah.
If you want to make things, make things. Don't feel weird about it. It's like, I don't know. Make art.
That's great advice. That's fantastic. That's fantastic advice.
Yeah.
Wow. That's. Well, now I have some stuff to think about. That's amazing. Thank you very much for taking time.
Thanks for having me in.
Well, thank you for
right on.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, you too. Right on.
That's good.